Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today we are going to start discussion on a popular Bani called Asa Di Var, which is usually sung in the mornings in the Gurdwaras throughout the world. So the title of this Bani is Asa Mahla Pehla, which means that this Bani or this poetic composition is in Rag Asa. It should be sung in Rag Asa, and it's composed by the first Nanak Ji. Mahla Pehla means first Nanak Ji. Mahla Duja means the second Nanak, that is Guru Angad Sahib. Similarly, if a Shabad or a poetic composition in Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj is titled as Mahla Tija, that means it's by the third Nanak or Guru Amar Das. So this Bani is by the first Nanak. वार श्लोका नाल श्लोक भी महले पहले के लिखे टुंडे असराजे की तुनी. So var shloka naal. So this var is accompanied with shloks. Var shloka naal. So what is a var essentially? So the following composition is a var. There are 22 vars in Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. Var in ancient Punjab was a poem, a song written in the praise of warriors or brave soldiers who fought in the battlefield. So it consists usually of paudis. See here, Var is a poetic style of Punjabi. It consists of small stanzas called paudi, and a paudi is usually of 4.5 lines. But in Gurbani or Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, you may find paudis of a longer length too. So the title here is Var Shloka Nar. So normally Var does not contain shloks with it, but most of the Vars in Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, they have accompanied shloks with it. So this var also contains shloks. Shlok bhi mahle pehle ki. So this var is in Rag Asa and is accompanied with shloks. Another poetic style shlok is usually of 2 or few lines. So this var was usually sung Tunde Asraje ki tuni. So in the times of gurus, this var was usually sung or based on a popular tune in which a folklore or a var, as I said earlier, var is a song or poem written in appreciation of a brave warrior. So similarly, there must have been a king Asraj, and about the poems, the songs which were sung in his praise, that var, that tune is to be used here. So it's to be based on a popular tune in which folklore or var of King Asraj was sung in ancient India. So that's the meaning of this title here. Shlok Mahla Pehla. So with every paudi there will be shloks, and the shloks will come before the paudi. So var contains paudis. Paudis are usually of 4.5 lines. Assa Di Var, which we are going to discuss now, has 24 paudis and accompanied shloks. The shloks will come before the paudi. So the first paudi, the shlok of the first paudi is Shlok Mahla Pehla. Mahla Pehla, again, it means that this composition is by the first Nanak Ji. This is a shlok. Balihari Gur Aapne, Diacussing Sadwar, Jin Manaste Devte Kiye, Kart na lagi var. Balihari is to sacrifice. Sacrifice means to submit completely. So complete submission here. Gur Aapne, the Guru within. Aapne, within me. The Guru, the eternal Guru, Sat Guru. The Guru within me, that Creator, Lord, that Vaheguru, which gives that hukmi. So because this shlok is by the first Nanak Ji, and as we use the term Guru for 10 Gurus, so who was the Guru of Guru Nanak? Whole Gurbani talks about a Guru which is already with us. Guru mere sang sada hai nale. A Guru which is always with me. So through Gurbani, through the teachings of these 35 scholars in Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, what we do actually is that through the wisdom which we get from Gurbani, we recognize that Guru within, which always gives us the guidance, which always provides us with hukam. So that hukmi, that Guru within. Diacussing means dihadi in Punjabi, and it's day. Manas, Sadwar means 100 times or multiple times. Manas, man or woman or human, we may say here. Devate is something angel. Angel doesn't mean, or divine beings doesn't mean that someone from the skies or some other place or some heaven. Divine beings or angels means a person living in those divine virtues of compassion, kindness, contentment, peace. So a life which is full of those divine virtues is divine, and they are called Devte here. So Var is time. So I must submit myself completely to the Guru within. Balihari Gur Aapne. I shall submit completely to that Guru, the guidance from the inner divine. So leaving all those worldly wise tactics and intelligence and cleverness, I should submit to the voice of that conscience, voice of that inner Guru. That's complete submission to the Guru within. Only that Supreme One, that who lives within me, who guides every time, who tells me what's right and wrong. So only that Supreme One transforms us, Jin Manaste Devte ki, transforms us from mere human, man or woman, to divine beings with no delay at all. No delay at all. That means the moment we surrender to that voice of conscience, the moment we are about to take some step, some action, we are about to commit some deed, at that very moment, if we listen and accept the guidance of the inner divine, inner Guru, we just transform from mere man and woman who are indulged in greed, who are indulged in vices, hate, envy, jealousy. In that very moment, when we are about to act, when we are about to say something, when we are about to do something, in that very moment, if we listen to that Guru, if we submit to that voice of conscience, that hukum, that Guru within, we transform. A person who, in the right moment, exercises compassion rather than cruelty or anger, a person who exercises kindness rather than selfishness, is divine. That is Devta, that is angelic behavior. So, that divine guidance from within us, that Guru within us, has the power to transform us with no delay at all. So, delay is from our side, that we do not listen and accept that guidance. We do not listen and accept that Guru. So the next shlok is Mahla Duja. It's again associated with the first Pauri of Asa Di Var. Mahla Duja means that this shlok is by the second Nanak Ji, Guru Angad Sahib. जे सौ चंदा उगवे हैं सूरज चढ़े हजार इत्ते चानन होंदियां गुरबिन कोर अंधार. 100 means 100, chanda is moon, suraj is sun, hazar means thousands. Again, these words hazar or 100, it's not about literally taking like 100 and 1000, it's about multiple. So chanan is light, kor andhar, pitch dark. So in the first shlok, we heard Guru Nanak told us that Guru is important because that Guru, that divine guidance, that eternal Guru within you, it can transform you the very moment you turn towards it. You just accept it, you just submit to it. In the second shlok, Guru Angad Sahib, the second Nanak, he again stresses on the importance of the Guru. Now here he uses some other words. No amount of outer or physical illumination can dispel the inner darkness of that ignorance, of doubts, fears, of all those vices, that ego. So there's darkness within us because of which we act in vices. We are not clear. We are more clear about what our things are seeing in the outer world. So we see a person who is not doing the right thing, but he is getting everything in the world. So why shouldn't I do it? Why should I stop doing it? That's the first thing which comes into our minds. So Guru Angad Sahib tells us that darkness of that ignorance within us, the darkness symbolizes with something which is unclear. So when we are not clear about things, that means we are in dark. So Guru Angad Sahib, the second Nanak, he says that you may have hundreds of moons and thousands of suns outside. That means all that physical illumination. I may have 1000-watt bulb here or some other big light, but that's physical light outside. It cannot dispel the inner darkness, that inner darkness of ignorance and vices in ego. We don't see what's right and what's wrong. That means we are in dark. So inner enlightenment, that chanan, that light within us, comes only by submitting. Itte chanan hondya gurbin, without Guru, without listening and accepting that Guru within, the divine guidance, the voice of the conscience. Without doing that, you will always be in utter dark. Gurbin kor andhar. You will live in utter darkness, darkness of ignorance and vices. So, inner enlightenment only comes by submitting or internalizing the wisdom from the Guru, the Supreme One, about which we have heard from Guru Nanak in the previous line. Mahla Pehla, there's another shlok. So there are three shloks with the first Pauri. Mahla Pehla means the next shlok is again by the first Nanak ji, Guru Nanak Sahib ji. Nanak Guru na chetni, man apne suchet. So in the first two shloks, Guruji tells the importance of Guru. In the very first shlok, there's the theme of that shlok is Guru transforms you with no delay at all. As soon as you submit, you are transformed. Second shlok, outer lights, outer illumination cannot bring clarity into our mind. Only through Guru's wisdom we can enlighten ourselves, and that clarity comes to our mind, and all those fears, all those that ignorance, all those vices, we can get rid of them. In the third shlok, Guru Nanak uses beautiful examples to tell us about what happens when we don't follow the Guru, when we don't follow that divine guidance, when we just ignore it. Nanak Guru na Chetani. Guru, the Supreme One, that Sat Guru, the eternal Guru, the voice of that conscience, that divine guidance within. Chetani, focus or follow. When you don't focus over it, when you don't follow it, when you simply ignore it. Nanak Guru na Chetani, you ignore that voice, you ignore that guidance. Man apne, in our own mind, suchet, we are aware. In our own mind, we think that we are very wise and we are very aware and we know everything. So when we don't focus, when we don't heed the inner divine, the inner Guru, and think we know all, we know everything, we are very wise, when we think that, Chutte til buvaad jiu sunye andar khet. Buvaad til, the rotten seeds, the waste seeds, which are not useful at all. So when a farmer harvests, so those seeds which are not of his use, they are left behind in the field. He doesn't collect them. Sunye andar khet. Sunye khets, empty fields. So they lie over there. Those seeds, they just lie over there on the ground. Nobody picks them because they are of no use at all. So an egoist mind which thinks that I know all and ignores the directions, the guidance of the inner Guru, what happens to it is like those rotten, useless seeds which are left behind in the fields. They serve no purpose. An egoist mind serves no purpose. It's living in the darkness of those vices, darkness of that I, me, myself, not clear about things, not clear about life at all. So here, that egoist mind is like those seeds which are left behind in the fields, which are of no use. They serve no purpose. An egoist mind serves no purpose at all, because that ego within it is an hindrance to that clarity, to that knowledge, to that wisdom which can enlighten it from within, which can transform it. So if a mind is already, wise enough that I know everything, when you think that you are wise, you know everything, you are suchet, you are aware of all the things, that means you have left no scope within you to be transformed, to rise, to grow. So to grow you need space. You need some kind of realization that I am less somewhere. I need to learn more and grow more. So an egoist mind doesn't want to grow, doesn't want any kind of light, because it already feels that I'm enlightened enough. I know everything. Man apne suchet. So it happens that it's like all those rotten seeds, useless seeds, which left behind in the field. And what happened to those seeds which are left behind? Guru Nanak tells in the next line. He says, Khetay andar chuteyan, kaho Nanak sau naha. Khete, in the fields, chuteyan, those seeds which are left behind in the fields, sau naha. Nah means owners. So they have hundreds of owners. So the farmer who grew that field or that crop, he doesn't need them because he thinks they are useless. But now that seed, those rotten, useless seeds, they are claimed by hundreds of other owners. Which are they? See here, like those seeds left in the fields are then claimed by hundreds of owners, which are birds, insects, animals. Now they attack them. It becomes a prey to them. So the egoist mind, which thinks that I know all, serves no purpose, is left behind over there because it doesn't want to get the guidance or the wisdom from that inner guru. It is left behind, and then it becomes a prey to all those hundreds of vices, like those insects, those animals. They come to those birds, they come to those rotten useless seeds lying in the empty fields, which are of no use for anyone. Similarly, an egoist mind becomes a place which is occupied by the vices, all those vices, greed, anger, lust, all those vices like hate, envy, jealousy, always complaining, always desiring, unending desires. They all come onto that kind of mind which is egoist, because ego, it helps grow all those vices within you. Ego will help grow that anger within you. Ego helps the growth of greed. Ego helps the growth of certainly hate, envy, and jealousy. So all those vices, they become a ground, they become a prey, like those seeds which are owned by those insect, animals, and birds. Similarly, an egoist mind which ignores the guru, which does not want to get any kind of guidance from that inner guru and thinks that I know everything, becomes a prey or is claimed by all those vices. Phaliye phuliye bapude pihitan vich swav. So they may appear that they are flourishing outside. Phaliye phuliye, flower and fruit, flourishing. Tanvich, but inside, within, swah, there's ash, they are rotten. The worldly wise may appear flourishing outside. They may appear that they are flourishing outside. But because that mind, that egoist mind has been owned by those vices, it's rotten within. It's rotten in vices from within. Although it appears that they are flourishing outside, they have everything, they have achieved all that power, wealth, whatever we think is important in this life, but they are not at peace. That egoist mind never finds peace because it lacks that clarity. It's living in darkness which cannot be dispelled by outer lights or physical achievements. So more and more physical achievements, power, wealth, or fame, all that light can never bring that inner clarity which liberates you from all those fears, all those vices. Instead, that egoist mind again becomes a ground which is occupied by all those vices, and it lives dissatisfied, it lives restless all the time, although that person may appear flourishing outside, that he has everything or she has everything. Now comes the first Pauri. Pauri, again a small stanza, and Var consists of Pauri. So it's the unit of Var. So stanza of Var, and it's by the first Nanak Ji. Apine aap sajyo, apine rachyo now. Apine, self, within us. Rachyo, create, to create something, to construct. Now is honor, respect. One who gets rid of ego. So in the first shlok, Guru Nanak tells, when you submit yourself to the Guru, you are transformed. In the second shlok, all that outer light or achievements cannot bring that inner clarity. In the third shlok, what happens when you ignore the divine? In the Pauri, Guru Nanak says, a person who submits itself or herself or himself to that Guru within, what happens to that mind? A mind which is devoted to the Guru, a mind which is devoted to the guidance of the inner divine. So one who gets rid of that ego, because one who is devoted to the inner divine gets rid of that ego. One who is not devoted, Nanak Guru na chetani, man apne suchet, otherwise living in his or her own ego, that I know everything, and ignores that inner divine or the Guru. So that's an egoist mind. A person who has submitted, Balihari Gur Aapne. That means when you sacrifice, when you submit yourself, you have shed off that ego. You just leave that ego. So a mind which has got rid of that ego by heeding the Guru or submitting itself to the divine within, builds, apine aap sajyo, creates, builds his a true divine self. So it comes within and recognizes the divine within and builds that divine self. Which divine self? Which we discussed in the first slok. Jin manaste devte kiye. That transformation, the creation of that divine self. Divine self means which is absorbing, which is exercising those divine virtues of kindness and compassion and contentment. So all those divine virtues, the creation of a state of mind where you are continuously exercising and implementing in your life all those divine virtues, that divine state. So you build yourself. When you submit to the Guru and you get rid of that ego, only then you start rising up. You start creating, you start developing that divine state of mind and establish real honor, real self-respect within. So apine aap sajo, apine rachyo now. We create that honor. Otherwise, an egoist mind was trying to find honor outside. If I have more and more wealth, people will honor me. If I have more and more power, people will respect me, which is temporary. But the real respect is getting rid of all those vices. Because if you are acting under the influence of vices, if you are a slave to your ego, that means you are a slave. There's no honor in it. Honor is something when you are free of, when you are not a slave anymore. So as soon as you develop, as soon as you build that divine state of mind within, you become a king within, you receive that honor, you are creating self-respect and honor within yourself. Doi kudrat saji hai, kar asan ditho chao. Dui, second, different than others. So kudrat is nature, consciousness here. Dui, different than it, which is free from ego, which is free from greed, which is free from hate, envy, jealousy, and all those vices. So different creation, a different nature, a different consciousness. That means a complete paradigm shift. Second to all those which we were living outside otherwise, when we are not devoted to the Guru, when we are not Balihari Gur Aapne, when we have not submitted to the Guru, that consciousness, and then when we submit to the Guru, we create a different consciousness. Dui kudrat saji hai. Asan is seat, where you sit somewhere. Ditto is to see, to observe. Chao, bliss, joy. See here? Through the divine wisdom of mind, which has got rid of the ego by submitting to the guidance of the divine within, through that divine wisdom, it creates another. Another means other than the usual or common or worldly consciousness, where you settle, where you sit, where you find rest. Otherwise, the mind is restless in ego. The mind is restless in greed. The mind never finds peace in hate, envy, and jealousy, and all those vices. Living in darkness, anxieties, fears, they generate because nothing is clear. But as soon as you submit to the Guru, that enlightenment comes, you create a divine state of mind, living in those divine virtues, and then you create a consciousness which is other than the usual one. So where you sit, at that consciousness, at that state of mind, where you sit and settle to observe peace and joy within. Kar asan, ditto, chao. You will find peace over there once you create that state of mind. Data, karta, aap tum, tus dev hai, karhen pasao. Data is giver, karta is creator. Tus dev hai, tu tus dev hai, blesses you mercifully. Karhe pasao, creates the expanse. So who is creating this expanse? Okay, it's your efforts, but what your effort is, like, all you have to do is submit to the Guru. That means what will happen now is by the guidance of that Guru. That Guru will create this expanse. So ultimately, that wisdom within you, that Guru within you, is the one responsible for the creation of this expanse within, for the creation of this divine state of mind. All you have to do is leave that ego, leave that I know everything, I am wise enough, I am suchet, and surrender, submit to the inner divine. Karhe pasao, dear mind, oh my dear mind, you shall heed the hukam, the wisdom, the guru from the true giver and creator within, who blesses you to create the beautiful expanse within. Tu tus dev hai, with its blessing. Tus is blessing, pleased. So Deva provides you with the guidance to create that expanse, that dui kudrat, that consciousness other than the normal or usual or the worldly consciousness, where you sit and find peace within you. So that you all you have to do is turn inwards and submit to Balihari Gur Aapne, submit to that guru, that divine guidance which is already there. Recognize it. So this line is addressed to the mind. My dear mind, that giver, data, karta, the creator, that divine wisdom within you, that guru within you, the eternal guru within you is the provider, is the creator, and is blessing you with all that guidance and hukam and instructions to create this expanse within. Tu janoi sab sai de leseh jind kawao. Janoi, aware. On one hand side, an egoist mind thought that I am aware, I know everything. But Guru Nanak Sahib says, the moment you turn inwards and you submit yourself and you become humble enough, you leave that ego, only then you become aware. Tu janoi sab se, everything, all. Everything is known only when you leave that ego that I know something. The more a person thinks that I know, less it knows. But the more a person becomes humble and says, I don't know anything, and submits to that inner divine, clarity comes over there. जिन मानस ते देवते किए करत न लागी वार जे सौ चंदा उगवे. So that outer illumination, outer light, it can be said about all those accomplishments, all those worldly wisdom, but it cannot bring that clarity within you, it cannot bring that light within you. But as soon as you turn towards that eternal source of light, of guidance, of knowledge, of wisdom within, you become aware of everything what's happening inside you. So sab se, all, everything, less to receive, to get, to follow. Jind kawao. Kawao is voice of that jind, of your soul, of your consciousness, hukam, of that guru within you. By receiving the instructions from the Lord within, by receiving the instructions of the guru, by receiving the instructions of that guidance of that inner divine, you'll become aware of everything. Tu janoi sab se, you'll know everything. Now you'll become aware. But in your own ego, you are useless, because there you don't want to learn anything. You cannot become aware. Your ego, it in a sense, it puts a blanket over your eyes, over your vision. You can't see. All you see is I, me, myself, and all those related things in the world. And then that ego will invite all those vices and you'll become a prey to them. They will own you. But on the other hand, as soon as you get rid of that ego by submitting yourself to the inner divine and you start receiving, tu janoi sab se, you start receiving the instructions, the voice, the guidance of the inner guru, you'll become aware of everything that's happening within. You'll know what's happening within me. You'll know all those vices, and you'll know that you don't need to heed them. You do not need to act under their influence. Rather, you have to create apine aap sajyo. You have to create that divine state of mind where you can find peace. In the last line, Guruji says, Kar asan ditho chao. So rather than following those vices, once you realize, once you become aware of everything within you, all those thoughts and all that happening within you, what happens? You get the strength, you get that wisdom from that inner guru, where you start creating that divine state of mind where kar asan, where you can rest, where you can sit to observe ditto, chao, joy and bliss, inner peace, eternal peace, where you sit and settle down within to find peace, eternal joy. This is the very first Pauri of Assa Di Var. Keep watching these videos to understand more about Gurbani. We will be bringing more videos on Jap Bani and Asa Di Var and Hukumnama insights on our channel. Keep watching, and your questions and your suggestions are always welcome. You can put them in the comment section here, or you can mail us. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.